Hey everybody, and welcome to another Binary Ninja live stream. I think everything's working. I hope everything is working. I just redid a lot of the stream setup. So all the automations, like the auto transitions are back, which you may remember a few weeks ago kind of bit me when or a couple months ago at this point, when it was like automatically having trouble. And I've changed all the audio and everything. But I'm excited this week. We have a couple of big things to show off and to talk about. So the first thing I want to do is introduce Flecky. We have a new channel video editor. So I'm really excited. You may have noticed we just published our first video. We've got a new series called Binary Ninja Basics. If you check our playlist, Flecky's going to be helping out with producing edited videos. And so instead of me just rambling for 2 hours, you guys are going to get really concise, topical videos on different features of Binary Ninja. I know a lot of people don't always watch the whole stream, so this will be a good way to consume things, just kind of a shorter topical video. So check out the Binary Ninja Basics videos, give us some feedback. We're looking forward to hearing what y'all think about that. And maybe, we'll see, there may be some stream videos where the whole stream has kind of been condensed and cut down and get rid of some ums and ahs and mistakes, and you can get kind of the same content in a shorter period of time too. So very excited for that. Looking forward to continuing these and doing that. Let's get right into it. So the first thing we're gonna do actually is check out the updates for the week. This was a busy week on Binary Ninja Dev. There were several big features that had been in development for a while that just landed today. So I'm excited to show some of them off. We're gonna cover a couple of those. And I guess the first thing we'll just look through is, in fact, I think I got even the latest update. So there's one feature I haven't seen yet, but I just grabbed that I wanna check out. And let's look through GitHub, and so we can just look through some of the issues that were closed today and see where things are at. All right, so if we look at just issues and we want closed issues, sort of by date here, so we can catch a lot of these here. Some of these were unfortunately just duplicates. So the first is, and I've showed both of these to various degrees before, but the find now, the search is as our newer, fancier search. And so you can see we're doing a text or constant search, and because we're in high-level IL, it's going to default to that. If I switch over to disassembly and then do a find, now we're going to be searching that. So the search is a little bit context sensitive. We also can scope it to just the current function. We can scope it to a particular range of addresses. I think there is still no regular expression searching in here. That's one of the search features that we were considering that didn't make it into this one, but most of the other ones did. And the best one, the most important one, so if I just want to search for text disassembly and say I want to do, how about, what's an instruction that's not going to show up a million times, but let's just search for all the calls. So I'm going to look for calls, and we're just going to find them all. And we'll see how big this binary is. Sorry, so we're literally searching all the text output for all of these binaries. Or all of this binary rather, every call that it makes, right? So now we've got persistent search results. So this is super nice. Kind of gives you a work list of something. You can work through this list of whatever it was you were searching for. You got it up. You don't have to just find next to work through things. You could have used a combination of tags and find before, or do a little bit of automation for it, but this is a whole lot better. Another feature that I want to look at, and I have not seen this yet actually, so let's see if I can get it right, is if we select a variable, or if we have a variable somewhere here, Tooltips now do a new thing. So I thought I saw the commit message that said, and it should be on this build, that if I hover over a variable, I would see the type information. But maybe I'm doing it wrong. I could be holding it wrong, or maybe I don't have the right, maybe the build hadn't gone through yet. I disabled the tooltips. I thought I had them off and I turned them on. Let me look again. What did I do? Yeah, so this checkbox, I had it on and I just disabled it now. So I've reset this to default. This is the default setting now. So I should have tooltips now. I usually turn it off when I'm analyzing, but I turned it back on now. Why are none of my tooltips showing up? I'm not getting tooltips. Is my setting right? Manual tooltips. Enabled to prevent tooltips to show up without control being held. Yeah, so that's disabled, so they should show up by default. Yeah, no, I mean it is a little tricky the way it's phrased. So, but it is not, no tooltips are showing up right now. So there's something else that I'm doing wrong, or I have set wrong, because this should definitely be showing me, is there a global variable? Is this a pointer? Yeah, if I hover over something else, why aren't no tooltips are showing up? Am I in the wrong view? Oh, maybe it's only graph view. There, okay, that works. Maybe that's a graph versus linear. Uh-oh, might have to double check those. We've been squashing a lot of the bugs. In fact, this build actually has a lot of them fixed, a lot of the recent linear versus graph view stuff changing. But yes, thank you. The log is way too big. Kyle. Oh, that reminds me of another feature I'm going to show off. So Bill, you're asking about the debugger plugin. Yes, the debugger plugin is getting some work done on it right now. We actually haven't tested it, the M1. I would think it would work. And in fact, that's actually something Andrew might have time to do right now. He's working on the latest ARM 9 spec support in the disassembler, but he might be able to take a look at the debugger. He and I were just looking over and playing with some of the features yesterday. I'm trying to think of what might be different about. Yeah, and maybe like when you're launching a file with LDB, I don't know if you have to use the arch command, or there may be some other things we need to do to get it working on the M1, but that should be doable. So definitely ping us on Slack in the debugger channel, and maybe we can follow up. But yeah, so I think the answer before is, or the reason we weren't getting tooltips before is GraphView. Okay, so I still have manual tooltips on. But yeah, so okay, there it is. That is nice, right? So this was, I think, an off-the-cuff remark somebody made in Slack this week. But it's like if you highlight a variable and have tooltips on, you get the type of the variable right there. So I can see that's an N32T. I mean, I can see it here because of the view I'm in, but that may not be true if, if I'm some other later usage of it, like, well, this is obviously right next to it, but if there was some other later usage, just being able to hover a variable and get both the value set analysis information, that's that unsigned range there, but also to get the N32T is pretty, here's a good one, var 80. That's also an N32T, right? So you don't have to look around and find where the variable is created. You can actually just hover it to get that. And I got my manual tooltips on, so I'm holding control to do that. Today's theme is still reflection. I don't think I'm looking for any other themes for a while. So John, who's going to be our intern this summer, put together this awesome theme called reflection. And I like it so much that, in fact, you may notice that I replaced some of the screenshots in the Binja homepage with reflection. So I actually use reflection right here when I show about what a modern UI we have. So I'm a big fan as well of reflection. I think it's really crisp and got good contrast. I mean, I'm partial to our favorite default dark theme. I even saw a tweet somebody recently asked, oh, is that Binary Ninja? Because I saw a dark theme disassembler output, and I think it was Cutter. But just because we've are known for being the dark theme disassembler, I thought that was interesting. And certainly I like our default theme as well. It's a little more muted, but I feel like the reflection is kind of a little crisp and a little bit higher contrast. But yeah, I really, really like it. Yeah, we actually had less interns apply this summer, so we've only got one who's coming out to join us, but we are really excited and looking forward to seeing what John's going to do. So yep, that's the reflection theme. So we've covered the search. We've covered the variable you hold control and you can get the variable type that pops up. And with a little minor thing I did this last week, I think it was this last week, I haven't showed it off on stream, is you can now save and load window layouts. So for example, if I like to bring up the Python console, but I like to bring it to the left of the log window. And then I want this to this is sort of like a nice layout. I'm going to call this, we're going to call this normal. Let's do another one. We're going to turn off logs, and maybe we're going to bring feature map up to a vertical feature map. Auto rotate was unchecked, so there we go. That fixes that. I don't know how that got unchecked. So now we've got a little scrub bar up there. And then instead of just a big mini graph, we're going to turn on show reflection. And we're going to move the reflection view. I like the side-by-side nature. Well, let's see. Let's do it up here. So I like it above the mini graph. So figure out your little layout, and we're going to call this dual because we've got two views. Layout, save new, dual. So now I can load normal. I can flip back to a normal layout, and I can flip back to the dual layout depending on what I'm looking at. So, and you can even bind those to hotkeys too, right? So you can use the hotkeys to do that. Yeah, we've got a long-running issue for a terminal. The nice thing that it would offer is it would be really nice to integrate that into the debugger. So when you're debugging an app, to be able to do it in a built-in integrated terminal. Ironically, the old Python prototype from 7 years ago actually had a terminal built into it because it was easy to throw together a quick Python wrapper. But we kind of have deprioritized it. It just really hasn't come up in a while to add a terminal into it. But at some point, we may circle back around. To answer your question, John, no, you still can't move around. The main view here, whatever you're looking at, is still the main view in terms of how the document layout works. But Rusty has just started his work on the 3.0 UI overhaul. So if we look at that roadmap on Binja issues and we see all the stuff that's tagged for 3.1, there is a UI enhancements bug. If you go to the 3.0 milestones and click UI enhancements, this is going to be the big change that will have a lot of UI stuff. So we'll see how that works. Kyle, to your question, the issue when your layout changes itself now and then, I'm not positive I think there may still be some nooks and crannies around the layout. Like in particular, like if you have a plugin enabled, then you disable a plugin. Yeah, I'm not totally positive on that. So let's figure it out. So I don't know if moving the main central widget will be coming for 3.0. One of our design constraints is that we intentionally don't want to make things too flexible, if that makes sense. Like when you can drag every window everywhere, as a user, it actually doesn't help me because I don't usually have the time or energy to like exactly fiddle with every little thing for any different use case. I would rather just have kind of like defaults. Yeah, I think I mentioned this before, but part of our philosophy is to take design cues from other tools. So the way that the Visual Studio Code has this sidebar where it's like a lot of common kind of like panels that pull out, we really like. And so sidebar plus a sort of like split view, or the way that we, you can draw splits and have like synchronized split views in a text editor is kind of what we're being a little bit more inspired by, rather than say, I'm trying to think of another tool that like gives you like WinDBG in the past used to let you drag everything everywhere and like all over the place, and I never got a good layout I was happy with WinDBG because of that. And so it's kind of an intentional choice, but we'll see. I'd be very curious if you guys have like sort of use cases or like layouts or flows you would like, and kind of make a case for them. I would love to hear that. Oh, and I will note, if you're interested in installing this theme too, the easiest way to get it is to just clone the community themes repository and just clone it straight into your Binary Ninja user folder. So if you just clone this whole folder straight into, depending on your platform, it's .binary ninja on Linux. You see there's a community themes folder. It will automatically pick up and let you choose any of those themes in the preferences. So you'll find all of those themes there if you just clone the repo, and then you got a whole bunch of choices with like one command. So it's kind of nice. At some point, love to have a UI for that. Hopefully we can extend the plugin manager to be an extension manager and have a support themes and types and all that stuff. So I don't think we'll be able to move the main view, but like some sort of split view will happen where you'll be able to do a side-by-side between the main view and like a disassembly, disassembly in one versus another. Like we don't know for sure, right? A lot of this is going to be, we're going to try this and see how it works. One of our goals is we kind of hope dock widgets go away. Now, don't freak out when I say that, but like we hope that the way that dock widgets work now will have like a better way forward. And we are focused on making sure any plugins that use dock widgets like transition seamlessly into the new, where the code either just works the same, even though it's now kind of like an instance of like a new UI model, or however it works, we're going to make it transitioning really, really easy. Moving Binary Ninja into .config Binary Ninja is not a bad idea. It's come up before, and I think we just have been lazy on Linux in particular. It's not a bad idea. I mean, certainly you could do it now and just symlink it, right? Just move it and then create a .binary Ninja symlink, and that would work if you prefer that. If you've got like your config folder under version control, for example, that should work fine. I don't think any of our code would do that. So, all right. I got distracted. What? Jordan got distracted? No way. Your clean home folder? Like, this is my streaming box and my home folder is not even clean. I'm not organized. So I saved my favorite one for last. Let me open up a file. I'm going to open up two binaries in my stream folder. I'm going to open up, can I do this? I don't know if you can open two files this way. It'd be funny if I learned anything. Yeah, you can. That's hilarious. Okay. So that video I did last week where I talked about all the ways you can open files, like I missed something. You can do multi-select in the file picker. Who knew? Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm curious how many files everyone has in their home folder. Let's play home folder golf, and everybody tell us how many files exist in tilde for your user, and we'll see who has the fewest and who has the most. I'll do mine. So ls tilde wc. What? All right, I only have 93 files in my home folder. I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie. Not counting dot files. Anyway, my favorite feature is the new array support. So I've talked about this. I don't remember how much I showed this off on stream yet, but we've got a great sample file that actually came from Order the Overflow last year, and thanks to Defraze for pointing it out to us as a great sample binary to test on. And so this particular binary has symbols just to make it a little bit easier to kind of work with, but you can see, if you have a binary with symbols and if you add appropriate types, how does the high-level IO look, right? How readable is it? And so I've got this binary up here. Actually, I think I want to let's make a new snippet and call it copy types. So I don't remember if I've added this to my public gist yet or not. What did I do? Is my machine live? What's going on? No, Binja, what'd you do? All right, I did something terrible to the other Binja that I had. So we're gonna manually go get the snippet. Fun fact, if you have snippets installed, the snippets just live in your user folder as well. So there's just a snippets folder. Yeah, I have this one called port types. There we go. All right, the idea is to copy types from one snippet into another. It's really, really simple. And in fact, it doesn't actually even work in the snippet editor because it abuses or uses, depending on how you look at it, a feature of the Python console itself. Actually, I could go back to my normal layout. Yeah, all right, there we go. Oh, I think I haven't updated snippets in this VM, haven't I? Yep, let's update snippets. Let's restart Binja. Hey, that worked pretty good, actually. Nice little test of the plugin manager. So the snippet manager, curious to see who wins are. Wait, oh no, did I break snippets by upgrading? Maybe that was a poor choice. Right, that's an old native. Where did snippets go? Oh, is snippets just disabled currently? All right, hold on. Oh man, here I am saying what a great test it is of the snippet. Ooh, all right. Well, that was a good test then. So apparently if you upgrade a plugin and there's a new requirement in the upgrade, I think we need to run the prereqs because it missed that. So let's try this again and see if now snippets are loaded after that. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Oh yeah, that's right. And now of course I've got my fixed syntax highlighting. So that's nice getting that. I guess that probably also happened since we last showed that off on stream. So again, I'm using the snippet editor in this case just to hold that piece of code. But the reason I'm not running it from there is because the Python console in the UI has this rather nice property that its local variables and context are mostly the same between different tabs. By which I mean, if I say A is equal to current function. Now, current function is a special magic hotkey that's context sensitive, right? And there's the user documentation has a list of all of those kind of magic words. In fact, we opened a bug just this past week or maybe the week before asking for ideas for other things we might want to add, like current instruction, current high-level HLIL instruction, some of the current segment, current section, some other nice ideas. And if you have ideas for those, please go add them there. So that's kind of magic and context sensitive depending on what I have up here on the screen. But otherwise, if I do current function.start is equal to A and I check it, it's A is dbf0, so if I go over to this other tab, A is still dbf0, but if on this tab, I check current function.start, I say is as B, or if I just say current function.start, and then I go somewhere else and then do the same thing. So you can run little snippets and then it'll move based on the UI, depending on the tab you're in. So all I have to say, I'm just gonna go on my BNDB one and I'm gonna paste that code. And the code again is really basic. All it does is take all of the types, save them into a structure, and then if it has that saved type structure, it just adds them to the current type system. So all I do is copy over all of my user types, and I'm gonna add another little change here. I still really want this default. I don't know if Josh is on the stream. He added this feature and it's super nice. You can filter now the type view, but I wanna make user types the default. I think that should ship as the default. It's great that we have all the other, auto types, part of like when we parse PEs and whatever the binary view is, for example. But I think it's more useful. Most of the time I come in here, I want to do with just the stuff that I've added. And so this is just a couple of types that are copied over. They're not all right necessarily, but these were from, presume you've done some reverse engineering on this binary and you've got this type of information that you've got. So I'm gonna go to the CPU step function. So this is again a Game Boy emulator that, let me pull up the actual link. So here's the link to the repo for the binary that I'm using. Wow, 29 files. You are organized, Kyle. That's impressive. But I think Fox still wins with 14. That's also pretty good. All right, so this is the binary we've got to compile down. Again, this is an emulator, so there's lots of structures. There's like memory, there's a register state, there's all sorts of stuff. And I am cheating again because I kind of know, but the point here is to look at what happens with the decompilation when we give this like Game Boy T type, for example, and we'll call it GB. And like instantly you'll notice like we've got GB, CPU stop, like so you got some nice structure references. Oh, there's this instructions thing here. And this is, I want to say this was a instruction T, I want to say. It was an array of, let's see if that looks right. Yeah, so this is where the actual instructions are, right? Where there's like the disassembly, string pointer, it's an operand length, and then like the function actually, which should be, probably should change the type on that so that you make them all pointers. But yeah, so it's gonna actually execute the emulator for each of these operations, right? How do you only have 6 things with LS, Kyle? That doesn't make any sense. You've got to have like, I don't know. I want to see that. I want to see that later. All right, so we've set our instruction type here. And this is the only nitpick I have with this process right now is that it doesn't, for example, automatically calculate, like this is obviously reading, it's indexing in here, right? For whichever opcode it is. In fact, you can even see it's reading a byte from the state. So it's reading out our emulation state. It's getting an opcode. It's going to emulate, and then it's going to get this instruction T thing for it. So this here, Spar 13 is an instruction T pointer. And sure enough, now we can see we're getting operand length, we're getting some of this kind of other stuff. Binary Ninja desktop documents, downloads, GitHub, and Snap. Well, you got your priorities in order. Yeah, John, we should have stipulated how many did you have at the beginning of the stream. So far this just looks like, you know, like decompilation. Like what's kind of different? What's the point here? Like, yes, we're seeing it do what it should do, but if we actually want to look at the results before this dev release, let me get, like, for example, last stable. Yeah, so let's do that. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna open up BNDB and we're gonna just copy the types. And then we're gonna load up the fresh file. Because I've done some other mucking around in that BNDB. I just used it to keep the types handy as well. So I wanted to show like the clean results if you just set these types here. We're gonna load the types. Oh yeah, I don't even have type filtering. Oh man, I gotta scroll through all these types. Look at these changes. So many changes since last stable. All right, well, let's not do that. So let's go to CPU step and we're gonna set this is a Game Boy T Star GB? Yeah. All right, oh, and actually let's do this. Which was it, 2? Yeah. All right, so let's do these side by side. And here's another good example where I want to lay out. So I'm actually going to turn off the feature map. I'm going to turn off the log, turn off the Python console, turn off cross references, turn off symbols, turn off tags, and we're going to call this minimal. Of course, I can't save that layout with the stable version, but we can at least just manually make those same changes. And we'll just have to like go reset the window layout when we get back with that. Okay. So now we've got a nice side by side between these two different versions. We can already see some pretty big differences here. This is dramatically cleaner and easier to read. Oh, I've also got braces on, which look nice, but let's turn those off just for scope style. Yeah, we'll go back to the default on that. So only for brevity, just so we can sort of see like and like. Woo! Trying to get these lined up exactly the same. All right, there we go. So you can just see the differences between these two. We're getting offsets over here. Oh, we have actually set the return type of this. So we're gonna do instruction T star on the R13 there. Move another one, yeah, it's RDX, same thing. Set the type on that one. But again though, I mean, just look at like this output and you're getting all these offset stuff and this is just like, it's pretty. It looks much better. So there's still some things that could be improved. There's always going to be things that we can do to improve it, but I'm really excited. I think this is probably one of the biggest improvements. The other one was all the extra like sign-on-sign extension stuff that was really chatty before. I think that helped clean up readability a lot. But like this is looking really, really nice. So I'm excited about the state of HLIL, and I hope you guys check it out and have a chance to do that. And with that, I think let me look at my to-do list. I think we got everything from this week. Big week, lots of nice improvements. Oh, analysis hold. Yep, that's a really nice one. So that actually, you can, let me try it. So I actually haven't tried this one yet. So I'm gonna hold Control and Shift, and I'm gonna open up, let's say Crazy Bomb. I should have saved my Crazy Bomb BNDB from before. And is it in here? Yeah, so there is this initial analysis hold. And this just says basically like, look, binge up. I wanna tell you where all the functions are. I wanna tell you like what's going on. I'm gonna do all these different things. Then you can do your analysis. So like, how do you trigger it again, Brian? So if I do this, I open the file. So yeah, you can see literally it hit main and like nothing else. There's no linear sweep, but this is super nice. If you've got like a plugin that wants to do some extra analysis really, really quickly, you could do that. You could create functions. This is actually also somewhat similar, kind of related. There's the debug info API, which is coming, and debug info lets you provide like a debug object to say, here's functions and types and information I have before Binja does all of its analysis. That one's a little more structured and really, really nice for, again, you've got like a PDB or Dwarf or any other kind of like structured debugging information where you want to have a consistent loader. But the analysis hold is really nice just for like more of an ad hoc, like I've got just this one-off thing, or I've got a list of functions or whatever I need. Oh yeah, a status bar says hold, analysis hold. So analysis is being held. I can't click it there. Oh, it said analysis hold false. Okay. Yeah, it would be nice if like I could trigger it by clicking on it potentially, but let's actually here, let me do my layout. We'll do dual, no, we'll do normal. I might even remap Control Shift R, what I think I'm gonna do. So I think this is a good example. I'm gonna take reset, let's see. So I currently have Control Shift R is the default for that. So remove that. And I'm gonna set normal Control Shift R. So I can set my layout to be like the default layout when I wanna reset things. So yeah, there we go, I like that. All right, BV dot, was it set analysis hold false? Yeah, I remember which language I'm using, I promise. Yep, Okay, that's all it was. Yeah, so I can trigger it off. But you could also, even in the middle of like doing a plugin or something else, I could say, so now if I like do linear sweep or I trigger any other kind of analysis, like it'll, like away it goes. Although this, oh yeah, this particular binary just didn't have a bunch of code in it. So that's normal. This is the normal state of it, even though it looks like we're not seeing a lot of code in the feature map. But yeah, like you could just like, oh no, hold on, I want to like batch up a bunch of changes, right? I'm going to make a whole bunch of functions. I've analyzed or deobfuscated something, make a whole bunch of changes, and then come back and say, okay, now go ahead and continue execution. I wonder if it, like an icon next to the lock, the right lock and analysis will seem kind of related. I wonder if doing it via like an emoji that had like a toggleable state the same way that the lock does might be a nice thing to do for that, but I don't know, kind of brainstorming. Set disable randomization off. Yeah, set analysis hold to false to don't hold, so it go like set analysis to go. Yeah, that's all right. There's only 2 choices, right? It's not hard to figure it out. Debug info hopefully is coming soon TM when it's done. Yeah, Homebrew Python 3.9 should work with Binja just fine. It should. In fact, I think on my native box I'm using a 3.9. It's not an M1, but my native machine is using Homebrew 3.9. I am actually getting very hot. My office is overheating and I need to get airflow into here. I'm sweating pretty hard. If all of like the streaming gear is up and going and all the lights are on and the fan's not going, or it's not cool enough and I can open the windows, then it gets a little warm in here. I might actually just end the stream a little bit shorter than some of them today, also because of the heat. So we might just wrap it up now. I said in the schedule beforehand that we are canceling the stream next week. Cool. Well, I don't see any other questions from folks, so I think I'm probably gonna wrap up for now, get some air conditioning and cool off a little bit, and we'll come back next week with some more look at Crazy Bomb. And I want some help on that. It's just more fun when I got somebody else to talk on voice. In fact, actually, if anybody in the audience wants to like join up on a Discord and chat about stuff as I'm reversing it, we can do it that way. That's something I've considered too. So thanks everybody for tuning in. It was good hanging out. Yeah, maybe next week. If not, it'll be the week after that. And we'll hang out again. Take care, everybody, and we'll see if my outro button actually works as expected as well. Like everything else has been kind of rewired. So.